Hello and welcome back. So in the previous video, I showed you how to draw the current picture that you see on here underneath the brushes and the watercolor. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to watercolor. So what you need is a pack of watercolors, which we have here. I personally like the wells, other people like the tubes. It's up to you. You also need some soft bristled brushes. Brushes used specifically for watercolor is best, but otherwise just some soft bristled brushes will do fine. You also need some clean water. Okay, now the first thing that I like to do is paint the sky with just some clear water and then add in your colors or your pigments. And something that you need to realize about watercolor, as you can see here, you are not painting with the paint. Okay, you are painting with the water. The water or the pigments absorb into the water that you have, and then that gets put down on the paper. So instead of just taking a wet brush and scooping out all the paint that's in the well, you just wet the brush, dip it on top of the paint, kind of roll it around a little bit, put it off to the side, and then your color is going to puddle. You paint with the water, not the color, and that's what's different with watercolor than with, say, acrylic or oils. You paint with the water instead. So you go in with washes. That's what it's called. It's called a wash because, well, it's primarily water with just a little bit of pigment on it. And the more washes you have, the more the color spreads out. Now, if you get a lot of paint down on the paper and you want to pick some of it up, you can go back with a dry brush and soak up some of that water to get rid of some of those harsh lines. But primarily with watercolor, what you're going to want to do, you want to put a color down, let it dry, and then go back over it. And you want it to completely dry, not just halfway dry. And a way to test that is to use the back of your hand and put it on top of the paper. And if it still feels damp or feels a little cold, then you know that it's not dry yet. And that is how you test to see if watercolor is dry without damaging your paper. The reason why this is important is because whenever watercolor is not completely dry, any kind of water you put on it, including other paints, are going to blend together and it's going to mix your colors, and it doesn't look quite right when you do that. So if you want to paint over top of existing colors like I'm doing right here, you need to make sure that it is dry. Now, this is just a quick demonstration on how to do watercolors. Obviously, if you want to add more details in, you can. If you want to do different things, you want to paint in a different style, that's perfectly fine as well. Even if you want to go over this with a marker later to bring out those fine details, that's okay too. But just keep in mind that when you're using watercolor, whites on the artwork are the white of the page, so you need to leave those areas white because you can't really paint white watercolor over top of other colors. You also want to start light and work your way dark, just like with the tree in the background. I started with the forest color first, and then later I'm going to go over it with a darker green, possibly even a black, to really make those colors stand out. And that's what you want to look at. You want to do the lighter colors first, darker colors later. That way you don't mix those colors and blend them and they don't just spread everywhere. Okay, that is your all's assignment. If you choose to do this, you can do a sketch before like I did. It actually makes it a lot easier for coloring purposes and things like that, having things already laid out for you. Or you can just go cold turkey into it and make your very own artwork without having a sketch. It's entirely up to you. But if you chose this as your outcome with the Choose Your Own Adventure, what your assignment is to go ahead and watercolor a set of buildings. Thank you all very much. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hopefully it was helpful. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.